Hello all, welcome to my channel. My name is Nimish Bhatia. Thanks for watching the part 1 and part 2 of instructional designing, and welcome to the third part, which is all about the evaluation. Now, evaluation plays a very vital role in instructional designing because it sits in the center and it keeps giving the feedback to the rest of the phases in order to tell them whether you're doing right or you're doing wrong. If you remember in the part 1, I had spoken about the fact that companies spend so much on training at times and they don't get the results. That is primarily because the program is not being evaluated in the right way. So now we are going to talk about evaluation. We are going to talk about what are the things that should be kept in mind, how it should be evaluated in order to make sure that the program is fruitful. Now, when we talk about evaluation, evaluation is of four kinds. So one is formative, second one is summative, third one is confirmative, and the fourth one is predictive. Now, formative evaluation is an interactive process that requires the involvement of instructional designers, subject matter experts, learners, and instructors. As mentioned by Tesma in 2013, it identifies the 4 stages of formative evaluation, which includes the expert review, one-to-one, small group evaluation, and a field test evaluation. Now, the results from each phase of evaluation are fed back to the instructional designers to be used in the process of improving designs. In all stages of evaluation, it is important that the learners are selected very closely because they have to be a close match to match the characteristics of the target learner population. Now, the purpose of expert review is to identify and remove the most obvious errors and to obtain feedback on the effectiveness of the instruction. On the other hand, the one-to-one evaluation is more likely to be, like a usability study, wherein during the evaluation, the instruction designer should be looking for clarity, impact, and feasibility. Now, the learner is presented with the instructional material that will be provided during the instruction, and the evaluator should encourage the learner to discuss what they see right on the material as appropriate and note for any errors. After that comes the small group evaluation, wherein it's used to determine the effectiveness of the changes made to the instruction following the one-to-one evaluation and to identify any additional problems learner may be experiencing. The focus is on consideration of whether the learners can use the instruction without interaction from the instructor or not, or do they always require that spoon feeding? Because if that's the case, then it defeats the purpose. Then after the recommendations from the small group, the evaluation have to be implemented and it's time for the field trial. At the time of field trial, the instructional designers and the experts only make notes. They don't involve themselves in terms of interaction because this is where they want to see how well the participants are able to replicate what they have learned. So this is where it's just they just make notes, they just analyze and see which are the areas where they have to improve. So these are the 4 stages of formative evaluation. Now let's have a look at the summative evaluation. Now, the summative evaluation. The purpose of a summative evaluation is to evaluate the instruction or the instruction material after they are finalized. It is conducted during or immediately after the implementation. This evaluation can be used to document the strengths and weaknesses in instruction or instructional material to decide whether to continue with the instruction or not. External evaluators for decision makers often conduct or participate in summative evaluations. Subject matter experts may be needed to ensure integrity of the instruction or the instruction material. There are several modes which can be considered for summative evaluation, including the CIPP model and the stakes model, and we are going to look at them one by one. But to summarize, I would say there are 4 questions. There are 4 questions that they try to answer while evaluating. First, what needs to be done? Second, how should it be done? Third, is it being done? Fourth, did it succeed? The most important one. So these this is what the summative evaluation is all about. And now let's have a look at CIPP model and the stakes model on the next slide. So when we come on the next slide, it talks about the CIPP model. In the CIPP model, the CIPP stands for context, input, process, and product. By moving through each of these four areas, programs can identify important components to assess where touch points for revision are located. Starting with the context evaluation, evaluators examine the resources and background within the program, such as the scope of the evaluation and supports the program has in place. Looking at the overreaching goals, exploring background information and cultural context are all components including during this stage. Once the goals are assessed, evaluators can move into the input evaluation stage of the model. During the input evaluation stage, review focuses on identifying the key stakeholders and examining the program budget. This stage also collects information about planning and strategies for implementation, including human resources and timeline. During the third stage of the process evaluation, the activities of the program are assessed with the focus on continuous improvement. What is being done? Is it being done well? And what needs to be addressed for change? Finally, the evaluators using CIPP measure the outcomes of the program and how effectively those outcomes are being addressed. They can ask what is the impact and how sustainable is the program. As depicted in the figure, governing all the stages is the mission or core value of the program to continually refer during all the stages of evaluation. So this is what this stage is all about, and or this model is all about, because CIPP model is purely and purely based on looking at whether the things are done in the right fashion, in the way they were being planned, and also does it really help in achieving the desired goals. Now, let's have a look at the stakes model. When we look at the stakes model of curriculum evaluation is more than just an evaluation process. Stakes model also looks at the development of the curriculum. When using this model, it is necessary to compare the developed curriculum with what actually happens in the classroom. Stakes model provides evaluators with an opportunity to compare the desired outcomes with the actual outcomes. The benefit of this is that is the curriculum developers that set the criteria of evaluation can actually evaluate whether the implementation is as per the developer or not, and that plays a very vital role, because if there's a disconnect between what the developer planned and what the faculty is implementing, then that's a big disconnect. So stakes model looks at that. After that comes the confirmative evaluation. Now, in the confirmative evaluation, the focus should be on the transfer of knowledge or skill into a long-term context. To conduct a confirmative evaluation, you may want to use the observations with verifications by expert review. You may also develop or use checklists, interviews, observations, rating scales, assessments, and a review of organizational productivity data. Confirmative evaluation should be conducted on a regular basis. The interval of confirmative evaluation should be based on the needs of the organization and the instructional context. Now, the predictive evaluation involves predicting intentions, adoptions, and impact. Now, intentions define the goal that participants should author during the course and the beliefs expected to have been inculcated by course completion. A list of desired behaviors the company required as required for expected outcome. These behaviors are known as adoptions, and then we define the results of the adoptions, and finally the business results, which are called as the impact. Now, post defining these three success gates, you know what you have to achieve and what is expected from your end in order to achieve, and what is expected from the company's end in order for you to achieve that. So after all this is being discussed and your impact is clear, your intentions are clear, your prerequisites are clear, then you can predict the value for training. This allows you to predict what impact will be realized by your company, what behaviors will result in adoptions for participants, and at what success rate, and what intentions participant must author, thereby enabling them to begin the adoption. So once all this is done, you know where to start from, which project is possible, which is not possible. This is where all that comes into place. Now let's quickly summarize what is the difference between formative, summative, confirmative, and predictive evaluation. So formative evaluation tends to focus on the process and normally takes place during the development and before the intervention has been deployed. Summative evaluation normally takes place after the deployment and focuses on its overall effects. Confirmative evaluation is normally performed after the summative evaluation has been completed for some time, and its purpose is to confirm that the instruction is still effective after weeks, months, or after a few years. Predictive evaluation takes place before the instruction is even developed. This kind of evaluation can help us to decide whether or not to proceed with the project before we have devoted too much time and resources. It also gives us the information that we need to know to be able to, you know, be more confident about the project. So this is what the evaluation is all about. I'm sure you guys found this video to be very interesting, and we are looking forward to make similar videos in order to make your day-to-day working more successful and more effective. If you have already subscribed to our channel, then thanks a lot for that. And if you're going to subscribe to our channel after watching this video, then double thanks. Stay connected, keep in touch, have a wonderful day ahead. Take care.